In episode 3, Davy and her friends make an Instagram video to try to grab Paxton's attention. She figures if it's sexy enough, maybe she can get back into the sex talk with him, but it doesn't quite work yet, because after posting it, she gets around 2 likes and neither of them are from Paxton. And her friends are starting to wonder if Paxton is using her for sex, when in reality, they've never done it. The conversation is broken up when Davy's mom shows up and says that she has to tend to her dad's tomato garden, and when she does that, it brings back all these memories of her and her dad. And because of that, she has trouble tending to the garden. Back at school, the teacher comes up with a project where they will be broken up into groups and try to think of an app that could have helped people escape the Nazis. And when they're breaking up into those groups, Paxton says that Davy should probably join his group, and initially she thinks it's a great sign until he turns to the one guy and says, it's great because she's cool, and also she's super smart, so this is like a guaranteed A. So now she's a little worried that the only reason that she was picked was because he wants a good grade. Either way, she heads over to Trent's house after school. Trent is one of the guys in the group. And while she's discussing the project, Paxton is more focused on looking at other girls' Instagram. And that's making Davy feel a little insecure. Now, while Davy, Paxton, and Trent try to figure out their app, Eleanor and Fabiola are in a group with Ben and Eve. And Eve is the girl that Fabiola is crushing on. And because Fabiola is crushing on this girl, she's at first a little hesitant to even get in a group with her. And this might be because of the pressure she's getting from her home life. That afternoon, she goes to the nail salon with her mother, and her mother is encouraging her to do more girly stuff, but it just doesn't stick with her. And when Fabiola mentions that she kind of has a boyfriend named Alex Gomez, her mom is over the moon with excitement and joy. After their nail salon trip, though, she goes to meet with her group, and Ben decides, you know what, I'll just do it myself, and he takes off. Eleanor then takes off too, and it just leaves Fabiola and Eve. And it makes Fabiola really uncomfortable because of her feelings for Eve. And it makes Fabiola even more uncomfortable when Eve hands her a flyer for a fundraiser for a queer youth center group. And immediately Fabiola says, I think you have the wrong idea about me, and rushes out. And it makes Eve feel really awkward. Now let's get back to Davy, who that night is trying to bond a little bit with her cousin. And her cousin is still going through a hard time after the breakup with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend doesn't understand how a girl who is brave enough to travel all the way across the world to do her studies, but is now so weak that she won't stand up to the fact that she's being forced to marry somebody she's never met. And he's encouraging her to simply follow her heart. And Davy can see that something is weighing on Kamala, so she tries to distract her with the show Riverdale. But while the two are watching Riverdale, she sees a coyote outside, and she goes outside because she is convinced that this coyote is her dad reincarnated. Because the coyote just so happened to show up at the tomato garden. So while Davy was trying to be Dances with Wolves, her cousin gets hooked on Riverdale. And while watching the show, she's inspired by the strength of one of the characters standing up to their parents, that she's decided that she will continue to date Steve, the track coach. She just won't tell her parents about it. The next day, Davy heads over to meet up with her group, and she's basically finished the entire project. And any contribution from the guys, it sucks. But while they're going over the finishing touches, she finds out that Trent is planning on having a party. And he states that he's inviting everybody he knows, and since he knows Davy, she thinks that she's invited. And she's pretty excited for this opportunity to hang out with Paxton at a party. But when she gets to Trent's house, Trent's a little surprised to see her, although Paxton is excited to see her. Paxton grabs her a beer, but it gets a little bit awkward, and she's kind of left to herself. And while she's sitting on the couch, kind of wondering what she should do, in walks Ben, although nobody's excited to see Ben. Ben then starts going in on Davy, making fun of her that she actually thought that she was with Paxton, while Paxton is macking on the hottest girl in school. It bothers Davy so much that she decides to just get drunk. It leads to Davy stumbling outside a drunken mess where a group of kids are filming a coyote in the backyard. And she once again thinks this is her dad reincarnated, so she gets really close to the coyote where she's attacked. Paxton immediately picks her up and takes her to the hospital where she can get fixed up. And while in the hospital, both Fabiola and Eleanor are encouraging her to try to have sex with him in the hospital like Grey's Anatomy, although that's not really a thing that happens. I think. I don't know. I wasn't a nursing major. I mean, I majored in communications. Paxton's still waiting for her at the hospital and tells her that she's all over Instagram and everybody thinks that she's died. So he suggested the two take a picture that he can put on his Instagram to alert everybody that no, she's actually alive. And she's thrilled to find out that it's actually going on his feed and not necessarily his story, and he's even tagged her in the photo. But shortly after this, her mom shows up and immediately kicks Paxton out of the room. She then yells at her for drinking and going to the party, but she doesn't really care because she just got a notification on her phone telling her that Paxton Hall Yoshida is now following her on Instagram. And not only that, but he also liked her thirst trap video that she made at the beginning of the episode. She's then released from the hospital, and the next day the groups are supposed to present their presentations, and as she's trying to do so, somebody in the class calls her Coyote Girl, and everybody starts clapping. And at first you can tell she thinks she's getting made fun of and she's a little insecure, but then she notices that it's actually a good thing, and people are just amazed by it. So because of it, she ends up embracing this nickname. As they're leaving the class, though, Fabiola feels like she should probably talk to Eve and explain what happened the other day, and she tries to, although Eve blows her off. She then sees Alex Gomez leaving the class and tells him that maybe it's best that he go get frozen yogurt with somebody else. She then heads to the robotics room because she's feeling really down about herself, and she has the robot that she built say aloud, "I am gay." Thank you for watching this recap. If you do not see the next one up in the corner right there on the end screen, don't worry, it'll be up shortly. Please consider following the channel. That'd be cool. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you don't, There's a thumbs down button for a reason.